Hey, what's up, guys? Oh, Kamikaze, 1946. Now, remember Luftwaffe, 1946, Ted Nomura, Antarctic Press, one of the longest running independent comic companies. Ted Nomura had an alternate World War II series, basically where the Germans are able to, and the Japanese are able to hold off the Allies for a lot longer because they actually are able to develop their weapons, super weapons. Okay? And unfortunately, no Italians are mentioned in this. So I assume that I mean, I don't know if that happened. The RSI would have lasted a lot longer, but they tend to get ignored a lot. Maybe somebody should do something with the Italians in comic form. And Ted is very similar to me, of course, in terms of an in betweener. He's actually Japanese. He was born in Japan. He moved when he was 10 to Texas, and he's kind of adapted to life there. Very, very pro-American. Of course, he believes in the colorblind nation. So, and I give him a lot of credit. He's trying to be fair to everybody, even the people that murdered his ancestors. And of course, you know me. I try to be patriotic at some point, but at my best, I couldn't even I couldn't even wave the flag ever. There's just something that felt wrong to me about it. Okay, maybe because I was coming out of a left wing background. Well, I ain't that now. So, and I have even less respect for it. So, Ted, if you're watching this vid, man, I'm sorry, but I don't. I'm here to see the alternate World War II stuff. Like I said, this is unfortunately only the first issue was in color. Of course, you see all the coloring that Ben done, right? All the coloring that was done. I give Ben and him credit. They've mentioned World War II more than a few times, and that yeah, they accept the narrative of what was said about what happened in the war to a degree, but they always bring up that it is a one-sided tale, and the other side there's a lot of humanity there that can be shown, and I guess that's the best you can do. You're actually ever gonna get. Like I said, this stuff's 20 years ago. I don't know if this stuff would fly now. I hate the um. Anyway, in terms of the comic, oh yeah, I like how I mentioned Ted is fight. He still is kind of like, all right, the Americans are, they're brave American men and women and children, but my people were people, humans too. But the idea of the 10 million, I never heard of this. America's plan to kill 10 million Japanese preemptive gas attack. Mm, that's now, of course, the whole idea is: do you think that the atomic bombings ended the war? Okay, I'm of the school where it didn't. But in this reality, you don't have the Soviets rolling into Manchuria either. Okay? They can't beat the Germans. So, anyway, and that's cool. Interesting. Of course, the Enola Gay. Now, I didn't realize Enola is alone spelled backwards. That's interesting. And of course, the Flash, the bomb, right? That the Japanese mentioned. Uh, it's called the Picadon, right? Pika for the blinding flash. Pika. Where have you heard that before? Pika Pika. And Dawn for the crushing crusher. Hey, the series, like I said, only the first issue's in color, but it's in his style. He has a narrative style that's pretty much almost like documentary like, and jamming as much in as you can. Oh, look, right, and remember the Germans were sharing their technology even in this reality that happened. You got the Japanese Me-163 rocket fighters, and then you got their version of the Me-262 with the drag. Oh, that's so cool. Of course, this thing. Where did you see this thing? Right, the Kyusho the Shinden. Right, you saw this in Godzilla -1. Right? Of course, I like how the first half of the series is Dora Oberlich, the character, right? She's one of the German advisors, right, to help the Japanese acclimate and train with the German design weapons that they've given them, right? Because certain man was helping his allies and loyal to his allies. Right? I like the scene too where they're flying one of these night fighters with a 75 millimeter cannon. Oh, yeah, taking out the B-29s. So now, you got the Oka, right? Of course, these are the rocket Okas, but yeah, of course, in this story, the special attack units are going to, are really going at it with the Americans. Like I said, I don't really, I don't want to see Sergeant Rock. I know Ted first realized that his people were the enemies of the Americans by reading American comics when he came to America. But yeah, we shoot Sergeant Rock. He shot down probably like 500 planes with Tommy gun. Oh, and which it was cool too. It was interesting is that as the war went on in this reality, Brazil and Mexico get involved. They actually join. Of course, who's they gonna join? They join the Allies, right? And so just going through the issues, just the interesting things that I saw, some of the things he said. Ted had a really good letter section too. You have angry people emailing him, "How dare you show these people as human?" And Ted, to his credit, would never back down from anybody. Very good debater holding this thing. Of course, I gone over this right. The lunge mines and then the frogmen and the K-10s, suicide subs. Now, of course, I want the Americans could have. I like to see. Okay, there's some scenes I'll go over that I thought were cool. I like how you have the female snipers for the home defense. And Ted drew this. He drew them like this, not me. And of course, they have a female Wehrmacht sniper. In Silesia, she killed like almost 100 freaking Russian soldiers and plus one of their top female snipers. Right, so she's here to teach the Germans. She received the Iron Cross from Herr Hitler himself. She's now here to teach you to use the K-43, right? So you can learn to defend your country. And I like to, you didn't get to, this is the only time you ever see a German taking out an American plane with the rifle. I mean, Sergeant Rock did it, it's okay. But I like the Japanese women are like, oh, can we start our lessons immediately? They're all happy. I just like that scene. I like seeing the Germans and the Japanese actually help each other, unlike the reality where there really wasn't much. There really couldn't be. And look, the letter sections are really cool. There's some really cool letters I've read in here, but we gotta hurry up. And of course, he goes over the World War II manga that he discovered later. Obviously, as a kid, he got into World War II in America and then started realizing that the Japanese and the Americans were not friends. They were enemies. So he read the American stuff like I did. And then when he was older and he was in Japan visiting, he would get the World War II manga. So the 60s stuff, you still had heroic, Japanese pilots. Of course, in the 70s, it gets a little more nuanced, a little more grim. And these are interesting stuff. I never heard of these. I'd look these up. And also in the 80s, when Japan was like buying up New York, I remember, they're taking over New York. I wish they would. I wish they would have, somebody took over New York. It wasn't the Japs, right? And so you had some stuff too where the Japanese, they win, right? And of course, Ted doesn't feel comfortable with the idea of the alternate World War II things where they win. Now, I would have said to Ted, hey man, why don't you go all the way and make it where the Axis wins? Okay, which would be impossible. But it's the economy. You can make anything happen. And the only appearance of Italians in this is an Italian pilot flying a Me-262. Like, what the hell? It looked like a Kraut jet. Of course, they're in Japan. They're like, there's a Kraut jet. Damn, that was carrying Italian marking. Yeah, well, it would be nice if the Italian. I would want Ted never did anything with the RSI. In this reality, the RSI would hold out. Imagine if they had these weapons. Okay. Anyway, so I recommend anything from it. Like, you're never gonna see stuff like this again. You're never gonna see it ever. You're never gonna see stuff again. Of course, you got the one with the evil racist. I'm triggered. Don't worry, he gets his. Actually, no, it actually ends in a nuanced way. Okay, which is, I give Ted credit for that. He's trying to be nice, so I'm not so nice. And the best part of this whole series is, of course, she's training these young men to fly these Me-262s, which are going to be used for Kamikaze missions. So, she wanted to say goodbye to a particular soldier, and she missed him, so she's never going to see him again. So, you see, she's all upset, and they're like, hey, let's have dinner. Let's go, make you comfortable. Oh, the pervy Japanese. And I really like this scene right here. They're like having a good thing. She's like, speaking of this Last Supper, do you boys really have to go to your last mission? As a Christian, I have to voice my objection that life is a gift and should not be wasted. There must be a better way to defend your country. And they're like, and I don't think I don't think the kamikaze thing was good either. But as they so aptly say here, I appreciate your concern, man, but as Japanese, we really don't have a choice. We don't believe that our cause is wasted because life is just a part of nature, and we will all be recycled to another life. Your commander said the same thing too, but there must be something in religion that can make you stop taking this tragic course. And it's not just religion, miss. We don't want to die either, but we just can't face the alternative. And I like the one goes, please, lady, let's just talk about happy things. I mean, this is our last night before our mission tomorrow. And she realizes this. And when she watches them fly off, sayonara, Dora-san, this was really touching. And and then when they're ready to go, I guess she didn't make it to see us off, And then as they're flying up to their deaths, you see her there. They're all happy. Auf Wiedersehen, Dora. Yeah, Wiedersehen is right. Yeah, this is probably one of the best scenes done in a comic. But the problem is, it is sort of all over the place. Everything else, because then her sister, the humor character, comes in. Her sister, who is a evil Nazi villainess, but she likes a certain youth. Anyway, like the type, is that the type 4? Yeah, that's it. But like I said, I don't really care about. I want to see the Americans all get slaughtered. So I guess I'm evil. Oh yeah, remember the evil racist dude? He saved the brother, and this actually, I remember this happened. They always mention this one guy just jumped in the water after the kamikazes, and they don't know why. Anyway, so recommended. Also, he has a lot of personal family photos of his father and the engineer unit he was in. So you see photos like this. There's some photos of my family too, of the Eastern Front. Maybe someday I'll show them to you. Maybe, but yeah, that's a big thing. I like this too. He makes fun of it. Come on, you men. You want to live forever? They're invading Japan. And the guy's like, actually, I kind of do such. I thought we were just here to mop up. No one told me the Japs should still be throwing themselves against us. Yeah. I like, too, how now Americans are starting to protest. It's like, we've won. Stop the invasion. And I like that a real American hero, Charles Lindbergh, was leading, the protests in this reality. Anyway, and the German sniper, she's there popping Americans. Right. He didn't go over this too much. The saucer, this early mecha would have been interesting. But anyway, recommended. I like more reviews of Japanese manga style. This one sounds pretty tragic. Of course, I don't have to mention this film, right? Great, very, very powerful film, right? Die letzten Glühwürmchen, right? And more, photos of his grandfather. Oh, the heroine we need. Okay. And this is the commanding officer of his grandfather who was killed in China. Right? And also, I always like how Ted is like starting to question. He questions a lot of things. It's like he basically, in a lot of the letters he writes and the editorials he writes, he's under the impression, even though he has a different view of the war than me, even, that everything that we've been taught and shown hasn't really. There's been a lot that's been misled. We've been misled. Yeah, girl. And Oh, really, her Japanese motorcycle warriors. Why is she wearing a short skirt? I guess German rules are more liberal. I want to be a Nazi too, then. It's praying to the Lord Buddha. And more cool photos, man. You'll never see these in a book. And the other heroine that we need in comics. Anyway, and of course the end's a little silly. This character, of course, there has to be some humor. Oh, Ted, what are you doing? And I like a lot of his stuff. He does a lot of reviews with his stuff. Okay, the real stuff about the kamikazes. And I saw Tokyo Burning. Remember this guy in the Good Rich book when I was talking about the firebombing of Tokyo nearly a year ago. This guy was cited. So, what's this? Well, they do both begin with the letter J. They do. And this book, I remember this book too. I remember the author. Some of the, I mean, it's always about the numbers, right? It's always about the numbers, isn't it? I think she may have exaggerated things a bit, but she took her own life like almost 20 years ago. It's pretty sad, actually. But Captain Storm, remember him? He eventually he had more adventures in the Losers than he did with his own solo thing. But of course, Leiji Matsumoto, more of the war stories. I always want to get my hands on these, but real quick, apparently, Astro Boy, Mighty Atom, Astro Boy destroys the entire American forces in Vietnam at some point. That's all right. No, that's for the Vietnamese, yeah. For the yeah, and then you get the this guy Shintani Karo. This guy was one of the first manga artists to have his works translated into English. Area 88, remember? Right, he draws characters that are more feminine, right? He used to draw girls' comics, but he was an assistant to Masamoto, and he did his own war stuff. And of course, he's a big tech dude also. I gotta find out more. I gotta get more of this stuff. I gotta find out more stuff that he did. Ted, man, we're gonna go over more stuff because I have more of his comics. Right. Oh, where's my black shirt female? Where is she?